children, welcome back. Welcome back after second unit test examinations. We had finished up to chapter 10 before second unit test examination, and today we will continue our studies from chapter 11. All of you open your SST book, page number 76, that is chapter 11. As per the heading, in this chapter we are going to learn about natural resources of the earth. Now, what are natural resources? What are we going to learn in this chapter? Let me just give you a just small preview. We are going to learn what are the natural resources. In the natural resources, we have terms in inexhaustible resources and exhaustible resources. So, what are these? What are inexhaustible resources? What are exhaustible resources? I am going to explain about that. We are going to learn about biotic and abiotic resources. I am going to explain about that also. And why are natural resources important to us? Why it is so important? Why we should preserve it? Why we should conserve it? Why we should use our natural resources very cleverly. I am going to teach you about all these things in this chapter. So, just watch this video carefully. Children, today we are going to know more about natural resources of the earth. What are resources and what are natural resources? Resources are commodities. Whether directly or indirectly, it helps us to maintain life. It helps us to live a comfortable life. Natural resources, when God made us, God provided everything. Mother Earth, she was interested to provide human beings everything they require. We are just running over the ground. We are running, playing, sitting on the earth. We are running on the ground. But the interior of the Mother Earth carries everything that we require. Natural resources include air, wind, sunlight, water, forests, rocks, mountains. Natural resources are the metals which are in the form of ore or in the form of stones, rocks or mud in the interior of the earth. Natural resources are of many types. There are mainly of two categories: inexhaustible resources and exhaustible resources. So big heavy words: inexhaustible, exhaustible. What is it? Inexhaustible resources which will never finish. Exhaustible means one day it will finish. Inexhaustible resources consist of natural resources like forests, like sunlight, like air, wind, water. Just imagine, sun will never finish. We will die. Our coming generations will die. But sun will never stop giving light. Air will never stop blowing. We will finish, our coming generations will finish, but air will be moving free. Water is there. God has made a process, natural process of water cycle. Water will just evaporate, it will go up, it will rain, again it will evaporate, go up, it will rain. Wind energy is there, water energy. We can harness it, we can use it to utilize for our purposes. Earlier, where people were just in the beginning of this century, people were just using it for electricity. They were dependent on electricity. But nowadays you can see that many houses, most sophisticated houses, are well planned to use sunlight. They harness the sunlight. The solar energy is used. Water energy, water energy is used to make electricity, which is used in dams and all. And wind energy or the windmills are used to make electricity in very remote areas where direct power transmission or the direct electricity cannot be transmitted, cannot be transmission. So windmills are established to provide electricity. So just imagine, it is these resources are inexhaustible, which will never finish. Never finish. Human race will finish, but these things will never finish. Now, exhaustible resources. Exhaustible resources means one day it will finish. Just imagine in your home you are having a big pot of water, and if you are just extracting one cup of water you are taking out, other day another cup of water you are taking out. The smaller the amount you will take out, the longer your pot will give you water. But just imagine one day 100 people come to your house and just you take out 100 glasses of water and the pot will be empty. Just the same case, we are having natural resources like coal, petroleum, ores. Ores means the rocky form or the natural form of unfinished form of metals. The petroleum, diamond, carbon, and all these things, the ores which we are taking out, we are using it. Petroleum, we are wasting just petrol, diesel, uselessly we are wasting. Not uselessly, we are just thinking that we are paying and we can use it any ways we like. But we have to use it cleverly. And the coal, which we are just burning it without, we are just throwing it about. We need to manage to use these resources. So one day, if we use this all ruthlessly and without we use it, we don't use it wisely, we will one day finish up these resources. These resources will finish. You cannot recycle these things, cannot recycle these resources and use it again. Once the coal is burnt, it's finished. Once the petrol and diesel kerosene is used, it is finished. Once the ore is made into metal or something, it is used up, it is finished. Again, it will not convert. Again, once you have extracted the ore and you have used it, and once the place is empty, you will not get the ore, then the place is empty. So we are going to learn about all this in this chapter.
Earth is a planet that has received nature's gift in abundance. All life forms depend on these naturally occurring resources. Every part of the earth constitutes some resources or the other. Countries which have preserved and used their resources in sustainable ways are ahead of others in building a secure future. Natural resources are what we get from nature, like air, water, land, soil, rocks, forests, etc. Our survival depends on these natural resources. These can be raw materials such as trees for wood and ores for manufacturing, or things that are directly consumed, such as groundwater to drink and plants to provide food, etc. These resources are valuable to us in many ways. So come, let's watch in this video. Resources can be classified into inexhaustible and exhaustible resources. Inexhaustible resources are resources that can be reused according to our need. They can be replaced through natural cycles and are inexhaustible. Some examples are air, water, sunlight, and soil. They replenish continuously and hence are available again, and their quality and quantity is not easily affected by human consumption, whereas exhaustible resources are those that cannot be replaced easily once they are used. These resources form very slowly and take millions of years to replenish when the rate of consumption is faster than the rate of recovery. These resources are exhaustible, for example, fossil fuels like coal, petroleum, minerals. Let us avoid the diminishing sources of fossil fuels. See the snippet. If it could be properly used, here is enough sunlight that falls on the earth in just 1 hour to meet the world energy demand. In the second snippet, you see Russia has more natural reserves compared to other countries. In the third snippet, you see that biotic resources are originated from living things. Bios means living things, and abiotic resources are like non-living things. Here you see the giraffe, elephants, and everything which is living thing, they constitute the biotic resource, whereas the mountains, rivers, valleys, they constitute the abiotic resources. We humans are dependent on natural resources. All over the world, people consume resources either directly or indirectly. Resources which are used in their original form are air for breathing, water for domestic purposes, or sunlight. The vegetables that we eat or the milk we drink comes directly from the source. Resources can also be used as sources of energy. Water is used in dams to produce electricity. Sunlight wind and coal are used to produce energy. Fossil fuels like petroleum and diesel are used to run vehicles and machines. Wood, which we get from forest resources, is very valuable for construction and daily use. Resources which are very useful in industries are minerals, iron ore, and natural gas. Children, now let us read how do we conserve resources. Conserve means how do we save our resources. Why should we conserve our resources? For what? Why should we save our resources? Resources are not only underground water, we read in the chapter underground water, fresh water, it is petroleum, it is coal, and other minerals, ores of metals. Why should we save it? To meet the growing need of the present generation, we required a lot of this resources because to run our factories, trains, for transportation, aviation, for that to meet our needs. First, it is our requirement, we have to meet it. To save the resources for future generation, to save all these things, all these resources for the use of our future generation, because they also should know, our children, their children, their children, coming generations should also know. To maintain the ecological balance, maintain the ecological balance means, children, if we will use ruthlessly, if we will use our resources ruthlessly, then what will happen? As a result, the earth will warm up, because whenever we burn fossil fuel like petroleum, diesel, and all, the smoke, it causes heat and smoke, and it will warm up the globe. As a result, the ice from the mountains and the polar caps will melt, and the environment balance will be, it will become disbalanced. So conservation includes protection and proper use of natural resources. Now next, there are many ways of conserving natural resources. Let us learn about the various methods of saving our natural resources. By using renewable sources of energy, we can conserve non-renewable sources. Means by using wind energy, solar energy, and the hydro energy, we can protect, we can save our petroleum, coal, mineral, iron ore, various ores, we can save it. Even the fresh water, underground water, we can save it. Wind energy is transferred through windmills for producing electricity. In the earlier part of the video, we have seen that windmills generate electricity and transmit that electricity to remote or far off places. So, wind energy is useful. Hydropower is generated when water passes through dams. So, hydropower is also, hydropower means electricity produced by water. Hydro means water. Is generated. I have shown you in the earlier part of the video that the rivers and the dams are used to produce electricity. Solar powers of energy from sunlight is used to run solar cooker, heaters, and pumps. Now we also see cars which run on solar energy. Solar energy has tremendous potential. It only needs to be harnessed properly. In the earlier part, I have shown you that solar energy is much in fashion. And if you go to Kalahandi Utsav and all, you can see that solar lanterns, solar cookers, solar water heaters are available, which will not cost you any bill throughout the life, because sun's light and heat is free throughout the life. Now beyond this, there are other methods of conservation. There are various methods of saving the resources. We can save our trees through recycling products. Many products like papers, cups, cardboards, and envelopes are made from tree. By recycling these products, you can reduce the number of trees being cut down every year. You must have seen the rag pickers who pick the plastics and they take away. Actually, they take and they sell it off to the junk, the person who deals with junk, and then the plastic is recycled. We should also recycle the things made of paper and then reuse it. Extensive afforestation should be undertaken to protect natural environment. Extensive afforestation means planting a lot of trees, not one two trees. Extensive means regularly and sincerely planting a lot of trees. Afforestation means creating a new forest should be undertaken to protect our natural environment, because if trees are known as the lungs of the planet, if trees will be cut, then a lot of carbon dioxide will be in the atmosphere, and organisms including us human beings, we will die. Laws and regulations of conservation of nature should be implemented. So those who are cutting the tree, those who are wasting the resources, action from the law should be taken against them. Children, industries should recycle their water. That means when the industries are leaving their effluents, when they are discharging their effluents into the rivers, it contains poisonous chemical and toxic materials. So industries should take steps so that it is free. They should separate the toxic and chemical materials from the wastewater, and they should leave the good. They should leave the nice clean water into the river, so that the organisms like fish, frogs, and various aquatic animals, they do not die of the chemical toxics. Conservation of water through various techniques such as rainwater harvesting and drip irrigation methods. Rainwater harvesting means when it rains, it falls on our roof and it get wasted, because just it falls into the dirty water, and then the dirty water goes into the river, and the river joins the sea, and the whole, because rainwater is also fresh water, it is sweet water, fresh water, and hence because it gets wasted, and we should cultivate the methods to harness or to save this rainwater. And drip irrigation is the network of pipeline which is put on the field, so that every plant at its root get drop by drop water, so that a lot of water is not pushed into the field to cultivate, and a lot of water get wasted. That's why in less water cultivation is or farming is done. Using alternative sources of energy such as biogas. Biogas means, suppose we have cow dung and we have horse waste, we have dropouts of animals. It is fed into a feeder. In many villages, in towns you will not find it, but in villages you will see that cow dung is put into a feeder and water is added, and after 4 or 5 days, when it decays, then methane comes out, and that methane is supplied into the households, and which is a very cheap form of gas, which is very much cheap compared to LPG gases. Scrap waste articles such as discarded metals and glass should be recycled. It is true, we should recycle, and India has a tradition of recycling, because we have kabadi walas. No, it is not a present day concept in India. We from ages we have the kabadi walas. So scrap and recycling is in our tradition, in Indian tradition. Innovative and advanced technology should be developed to minimize wastage. So nowadays, earlier we find that in every household taps were there which were running a lot of water if we wash the vegetables, if we wash the utensils and all. But nowadays the special taps are available which just throw a mist of water, so that in less water we can wash our utensils, we can wash our vegetables and all. Correct and timely guidance of should be initiated by the government. It is the big major role of the government which to guide the public not to waste the resources, because we are a growing big huge population, and we should save, and the government is the duty of the government to guide us to save our resources. Awareness on conservation of resources should be made through debates and discussions on TV and print media and in schools and colleges. Yes, it is not a new thing. In TV also we see, and many a times go green competitions are conducted, and saving environment, and on environment day various competitions are conducted in schools and colleges. So children are much aware, but they forget everything while implementing it. So you should implement. Don't waste water, don't waste electricity, switch off when you are not sitting in any place, switch off the light and fan, like that. Recycling should be encouraged, and efforts made to promote it, and we should recycle it. Just don't tear your many a times I've seen in class children are tearing their books and throwing a lot of paper. Just imagine that if you are tearing a book, it is just a branch or a part of a tree. So instead, don't tear it, and try to
save the environment and save our resources.